Hi, guys. All right, I found Alyssa. Let me find Tammy.
There she is. I just got on.
Yay, and you unmuted yourself. Perfect. Hi, pretty girls.
Hello.
Okay, so I'm not really Chantel Lyons, but we use her Zoom because it's really big. So we never know how many are going to get on.
I mean, she's kind of awesome too.
Yeah, she is. So I'll take it. Although my curly hair today is not anywhere near her curly hair.
Not near hers.
No, we'll see. I wonder if she'll get on, and then we'll have two Chantels on tonight. We'll see.
We'll make her be a guest speaker.
Yeah. All right. We want to give it another minute or so. It's right at 8:30 now.
Sure. Mute myself.
Just reminding everyone in my team pages. All right, should we go ahead? I feel like we're just all sitting here silent.
I have a really hard time being patient on these because when it's quiet, I feel really awkward.
Yeah, me too. So let's.
Like it's only been 1 minute, but it feels like it's been 5.
Yep, I'm like, okay, cool. So let's go. Alyssa, you want to start us? Or to nominate you?
You guys are the worst. Are we recording it or no?
We are. It will record, and I'll have a link for it when it's done.
Okay, cool. Oh, I already saw that. All right. Okay. Hey, guys. Thanks for joining us tonight. We are really excited to do this Zoom. The 3 of us have never done one before, so it's going to be interesting, and it's going to be amazing. I just know it. So we're just going to dive right in. You guys, we're all going to introduce ourselves, so you'll get to hear all their stories, but I will go ahead and kick us off and share a little bit of my story. My name's Elissa Bowman. I'm a presidential diamond. I have been with It Works for almost 7 years now. So next month will actually be my 7-year anniversary. It's absolutely crazy. I joined when I was 22, and I was a recent college grad working a retail job. I didn't even have benefits. I was just working at a boutique, just trying to figure out what I was going to do with my life. And the owner of that store came in one day and said, hey, we're going to sell these wrap things, and left. And so we start getting shipments of these wraps, and we seriously just started putting them on people, and the results were insane. And I signed up before I even tried a product. I didn't know we had other products. I didn't know anything about the company. I didn't know how we got paid. I didn't know about the compensation plan. Knew absolutely nothing except for I wanted to try it, and I knew people that would want to try it. And I literally jumped in blindly. Like, I'm your dream distributor that didn't ask any questions and just went for it. So I dove right in, figured out that we had all of these other things. I had actually wanted to lose weight. I was the heaviest I had ever been. I was a college athlete, but quickly realized that once you stop working out and eat exactly the same amount of calories, you start putting on weight. So I was too tired to go to the gym. I was coaching club volleyball in addition to my Monday to Saturday job. I didn't have a whole lot of extra time, but I thought, here's a way for me to make some extra cash while I get a big girl job. And y'all, I never got a big girl job. When I was 23, I ended up buying the boutique that I was working at. So I was 23, owned a retail store, spending way too much money every month on rent and bills and employees and window displays and inventory. And I was miserable for 3 years. And I had I was making more money from my phone doing It Works than I was owning a small business. So if there's any small business owners on here, props to you. I know it is not easy. And so I looked up in 2015 and thought, this is crazy. I have a golden opportunity. I can make money from anywhere, with anyone, at any time, and I'm going to go for it. And I'm going to see what happens if I will make that my plan A instead of my plan B. And so that's what I did. And the same month I sold my store, I went presidential. My husband and I earned, well, my now husband, then boyfriend, earned $150,000 in bonuses in 1 year. And we've been top income earners ever since. It's flipped our lives in a million different ways. 7 years is hard to sum up in one video. I've been through everything you can imagine. Anything you will ever encounter in this business on your journey, I've already been there. Tammy's already been there. Allie's, like, we've been through all of this. And so that's why I'm really excited about this Zoom, because you're going to get to hear from people that are very loyal to this company and why they're very loyal to this company. We all have a really big vision for this company. And that's why even through the ups and downs of our personal life and all of the things all the obstacles that have been in our way, like, we're still here for a reason. So we hope you guys will get just like a glimpse of that tonight. So yeah, I will hand it over to Tammy.
Wah, wah. Just kidding. We were like rock, paper, scissoring kind of over instant messenger as much as you could of who had to lead, and Elissa drew the short straw, or the delegated. She was voluntold, I guess. So my story is very similar to Elissa's, but also kind of different. My name is Tammy Evans, and I'm a presidential diamond, and I've been in almost 7 years also. And when I started, I was not 22 years old. I was way older than that. I was 29, way older. And I was a single mom to a 5-month-old baby boy. Just kidding, 4-month-old baby boy. And a single mom, y'all, like 100% single mom. His bio dad gave up his rights before he was born. And so it was just me and him. And I had a great career in public relations and marketing, but he was not an easy baby. He had 3 surgeries before he was 5 months old. He was on prescription formula. He was on like this compounded medicine. He just was not easy, and it added up. Like, it was just expensive. And at the end of the month, I just didn't have a lot of money. And so I was like Elissa. I was probably one of the easiest sales, or hard sale, soft sale, whatever you want to call it, to get to sign up. My best friend, literally, this is how the conversation went. She said, hey, I think I'm going to sign up to sell skinny wraps, and you should do it too. And I was like, okay, what's a skinny wrap? She goes, I don't know. It's a wrap that makes you skinny, but if I'm going to do it, you have to do it. And I was like, all right, sign me up. Literally, like that was it. I had no clue what a wrap was, what It Works was, what network marketing, direct sales, none of that. I just knew that if she was going to do it, I was going to do it too, because at that time we were pretty inseparable and did everything, good or bad, together. And her sister-in-law came into town and kind of was training us and teaching us the way. And at that time, y'all, she was making like $800 or $1,200 a month. And I was like, whoa, this is a big deal. But if she can do that, I can make $500 to pay for childcare every month. I figured if I could get that monthly childcare bill paid for, that I would be able to maybe start paying off some of that medical debt, or not worry about the mortgage on the house that I owned, or the bills, or the water, all of that fun stuff. And so I started and sold a lot of wraps by just cash, wrap cash. And within the first month made $500 pretty fast. And I'm one of those, kind of like Elissa, and I know Allie too, kind of competitive. And I was like, well, that was easy. So if I made 500, why can't I go make 1,000? And then did that. Well, if I can make 1,000, I'm not going to let this person that I don't know go and make 3,000. So I'm going to go make $3,000. And it just kind of progressively got more and more. But somewhere along the way, I started to, because I needed that extra money. That $500 was huge, because I was lucky enough that I had a friend that watched my son during the day. So it wasn't like a daycare cost. It was just a friend. $500 legit was how much I paid for full-time childcare. But somewhere along the way, I realized that this little baby boy wasn't going to stay a baby forever. And he was going to want to play soccer. He was going to need shoes. He was going to want to go on field trips and church camps and all of that stuff that adds up. And I decided that I never wanted to have to tell him no. Not no, like I always say this joke, like you tell your kids no, don't stick that paper clip in the light socket because that's not good for you. Or no, you can't have candy corn for dinner. But I'm talking about like the no because we couldn't do something. I never wanted to have to tell him no. I didn't want him to suffer the consequences for the decisions or the actions that I made in my life that led to me being a single mom and being a single income family. And so that is when my vision just completely expanded and I really understood what we had our hands on. Never thought that I would leave my job, my career, and I didn't. I mean, I hung on until I just couldn't hang on anymore because I loved what I did. And I just needed to finally walk away from that to devote more time to It Works. So if you're here and you're like, I love my job, I did too. Y'all, I didn't want to walk away. I was like, no, I'm good. I'm going to do both until I'm a black diamond. Not a big deal. But that just isn't possible. And I already went down a rabbit trail and I forgot what I was saying.
Just your story. That is it.
Okay. So the rest of the story is I got married to an amazing man and we've earned, I don't know, $146,000 in bonuses, and he legally adopted my son. And we have another little girl. He turned 7 on Saturday, and she turns 4 on the 5th of September. So they're coming up, and my journey is not, y'all, okay, I'm sure we'll get to this in a minute, but like when Elissa says that we've experienced everything, I know Elissa's team, most of them know this, my team, Allie's probably not. I went to triple, went all the way to triple. Uh-oh, my screen has a green dot on it. That's fine. I went all the way to triple and I sat there for like 15 months. And there was not a single person on my triple diamond chart that was on my presidential diamond chart. 2 entirely new teams. And so if you're here like, I don't know what to do, I got to rebuild. I'm like, you do you. Keep going, keep doing it. Because not a single person that got me to triple diamond got me to presidential. And I think that is something that we don't hear a lot, but it's common. Maybe you have one leg or maybe, I don't know. Anyway, but that is part of my story, is having to overcome that funk and realizing that you have to just bless and release and say, thank you for what you did. You got me to where I am, but you're not going to be the ones that take me where I need to go. And just reshifting and refocusing, and that's okay. And once you could kind of like release that, things just kind of start moving faster. And okay, I'm going to go ahead and stop talking and we'll let Allie or Chantel Lyons speak next to us.
Okay, guys. Hi. So my name is Antonacci. I know it says Chantel, but I'm really Allie. Chantel's my upline. One of my uplines, and she has a 500-person Zoom, so we all just use it. So my name's Antonacci, and I am an ambassador with It Works. Who just told me I look skinny in the chat? Thank you, Katie. That's super nice of you. Really making me feel good tonight. So I have been with It Works for just a little over 5 years. I met Tammy and Elissa just this past April at like a little retreat. And we just instantly bonded. Tammy and I think, realized that we're like the same person, just on different sides of the country. We had so much fun together, and it's been really, really amazing to start to, embrace a circle outside of our team and outside of that circle that I thought I knew and I thought I needed, and just expand my circle and realize who I needed to let go and who I needed to rise up with. And that really was super powerful for me. So these 2 ladies, I'm so excited when they messaged me to do a Zoom with them, because they are absolutely in that inner circle of people who we are rising up together. So thank you guys for welcoming me with your team. This is so fun. And then, my team's on here too. So like I said, I started in July of 2013. after watching a friend on Facebook for 9 months, thought, I wasn't like just kind of like watching, like interested. I was like a skeptic and a hater. Like, I was like, okay, her husband owns a business. Like, I know him from college, but like, what is she doing? She's photoshopping pictures. Like, this is not legit. And it was like the train wreck you couldn't stop watching, because that's what people do on social media, right? We're voyeuristic and people don't want to see you succeed. People want to see you fail. And I don't think I wanted to see her fail, but I just like could not fathom what she was possibly doing. I was a nonprofit fundraiser. That was my heart. I loved charity work. It's all I ever wanted to do. My daughter was 2 when I joined this business. So she was 1. I had just gone back to work full time. I'd kind of taken a year off after I had my daughter, because I could not do the full-time daycare, like 11-week-old daycare thing. It just like blew my mind, couldn't handle it. So pieced it together until like she was 13 months old. My husband's like, you got to go back to work. Found a job, whatever. She was in daycare and it just never felt good. So I was watching this friend, like I said, skeptically, but I think I was like subconsciously like very much drawn to it, because I was always so like entrepreneurial and always like wanted to become independently wealthy. And like, I hated bosses. I hated coaches. Like, I didn't ever want anybody telling me what to do, like ever. I like to be the boss. I don't like having a boss. So that always worked really well in corporate America. So, this friend, I watched her, and one day, you guys, on Facebook, she literally in like Sharpie on a piece of paper wrote out her goals. And one of them said, trip to Atlantis. And at that time, it was her family of 5. She had 3 children at that time, paid in cash. And I don't even know what the rest of her goals were. But you guys, 5.5 years later, I still remember that one, because I was like, that's a legit vacation. Like, I've booked all inclusives. Like, Atlantis is no joke. How is she going to do that? Like, what is she doing? So then suddenly my skepticism like turned to intrigue. And so when you guys, I'm telling you that piece of story because it's so crucial, because I want you to know to like boldly claim your goals, because you never know who is watching you and what one thing you're going to put out there that someone's like, yes, that's it. That's all I've ever wanted. Or that's going to shift them from that skeptic to that, like, gotta be a part of it person. So I messaged her, we went back and forth. We talked a little. I still balked on her. I mean, you guys, and she had asked me to parties. She had asked me to join. Radio silence. Never responded to her. So finally, I just was like, I just couldn't take it anymore. I was ready to I wanted a different job. I hated the job I was in. And I said, okay, great. And she said, well, I said, I need to have lunch with you because I don't really get it, but I think I need to know what this is all about. And you guys, she pulled out the catalog, which showed me, which was just this little 2-piecer at that time. And she kind of sketched a Ruby chart. And she said, if you do this 3 times in the next 3 months, you get a $10,000 bonus. And I was like, I could use 10 grand. And so pretty much I said, okay, great. I'll do whatever you tell me to do. And in 3 months, when I don't get this 10 grand and I quit, you can't be mad at me. And she was like, okay, cool. But I said, but I'll do whatever you tell me to do until then. So you guys, I was like, great, I'm going to do this. And I signed up on July 2nd and I froze. And the whole reason I froze is because I told my best friend, I said, I'm going to sign up for this thing. I don't really know a lot about it, but I think I could make some money. And she goes, dude, all that crap's a scam. So whatever, I love you, but I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to see it. And you guys, I was like, well, if I put this on Facebook, she's going to see it. I'm like, what kind of best friend is that? That I was so nervous. And the other person I was nervous about was my mom, because they had joined a network marketing company when I was little. They didn't do anything with it. And they said, well, it didn't work. And my father-in-law. I just didn't want to deal with that drama. So I sat there for a week. Didn't do anything, didn't post. And my enroller's like, hello, what are you doing? Do you need help? Do you need an announcement? What's happening? And so finally I realized there was a custom setting on Facebook that I could block specific people from my posts. I said all friends except, and you guys, I blocked my best friend, my parents, my in-laws, my brother, all my coworkers. I blocked them all from my posts and I started posting. And I had a couple customers, looking back, I just word vomited all over them, but I was excited. I tried the wraps, 3 wraps in, my stretch marks for my daughter were gone. My skin, it put me back in a 2-piece. I was like, well, these are magic. So Bonnie said, you got to go to this event. I was like, nope, don't have a babysitter, whatever. She said, no, it's in St. Louis. You have to go. You told me you'd do whatever I told you to do. So you have to go. So I figured out the babysitter or whatever. It was like a little mini boot camp, like an It Works You or whatever. Their green carpets called this year. I mean, they've changed all the years. And I went, and you guys, I did not wear black and green. I got there and everyone was wearing It Works clothes. And I was like, okay, like they all know they're here for the same company. Like, why are they all wearing the same clothes? Like, I didn't get it. I sat there, I started wearing a tan and black maxi dress, like arms crossed, like, okay, these are a bunch of Looney Tunes. Like, what are they doing? Why are they all like obsessed with all their bling and stuff? About 3 hours in, I was like, I gotta go buy a shirt. Like, this is awesome. I saw real people, you guys. I saw nurses and moms and lawyers, and I watched Cammie, get announced as a Black Diamond. I watched somebody give a ambassador speech. Like, I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm just like that. And I turned to my friend next to me and I said, I'm going to be on that stage next year. She was like, okay, like, great, go get him. A week later, I was Ruby. A month after that, I was Emerald. And a month after that, I was Diamond. So I went Diamond in like 88 days or, something like that. I got that $10,000 bonus. And you guys, it was, I don't disclose this, but I'm going to say it right now. I never even did my training academy until after I went Diamond. Because I'm one of those people who wants the information immediately, and there were these like really long videos back then. I was like, yeah, I don't have time for this. I was legit ignorance on fire. I had nothing but blind confidence and excitement. And I was so damn excited about what I was doing and where I was going because it was just pure confidence and unshakable faith, a vision. I had seen those people on that stage. That was going to be me. And I knew nothing else to limit myself. I knew no reason in my world, because nothing had intersected in my business yet, that was like, well, of course you're going to go do that. 2 months after I went Diamond, I went double. I went to my husband and I said, okay, I think I'm going to quit my job. And he was like, I'm sorry for the voodoo witch wraps. Like, he did not, we had huge fights over it. He's like, if you think you're getting us out of debt with this voodoo witch wrap BS, and I was like, watch me. I mean, and you guys, from the moment I put my daughter to bed, I was working on my computer until like I was falling asleep on the couch. I was putting posts up in the morning. I was like taking extra bathroom breaks during the day. I was like taking phone calls in stairwells. Like, this business, I became obsessed. I was so obsessed with this business. I would fall asleep like dreaming of the income chart and like paying off my debt virtually as I went through the ranks. So I quit my full-time job after 5 months in this business. Don't recommend that. You'll know when it's right, but I think I just knew nothing else. In my first 6 months in this business, we paid off $12,000 of debt, paid off all of our credit card debt, and we didn't spend a dime of our It Works money until after I had decided to quit my job, and it had to be part of our income. But we knew that that was the busy time of my husband's year, so like we had a little bit of a buffer because he was about to get some really huge paychecks in January. So then I went to conference as a double diamond, and they said there used to be this event called Dash, which was like the top. That when I first joined, it was like it had been that boot camp I went to. They said, okay, well, everybody presidential and up gets to go to Dash next month. And I was like, oh my God, that's so cool. Like, they just get to go party for a weekend. That sounds fun. So I was like, next year I'm going to be a presidential and I'm going to get to go. And so then at that conference, they said, it's going to be the top 100 earners. And I was like, you gotta be kidding me. I'm a brand new double diamond, like a top 100 earner. What a joke. But I was like, whatever, I'm just going to keep promoting. Like, that didn't limit me at all. I just thought that was like so unreachable, but it wasn't going to stop me from promoting and building. So I freaking hustled. I went triple. My husband went diamond. And I will tell you guys that every single one of my paychecks was well under average until I was a double diamond. I'd signed, honestly, what's crazy is in January of 2014, my 3 strongest leaders on my team today are three of the people I signed in that month. So there's something really good about that month. And I went triple diamond at the end of March, and I was making almost presidential pay. It was insane. I had kind of hit that, we always say go diamond and keep enrolling because it's the license to print money. That's what happened. And then, so as diamond, or as triple, I was growing. I was making some pretty insane checks, and I got word that I had qualified as a top 100 earner as a triple diamond. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? I one day got a message from Pam Sauter that was like, can I give you a phone call? I was like, yeah, cool. Like, I was 10 months in my business. So she called and she said, right now you're like number 86 in the running for Dash. And I was so worried I was going to fall out of it. So I went triple at the end of March, and a new DT signed like April 15th. And we took her all the way to diamond for me to go presidential by the end of June. So 2 days shy of my 1-year anniversary, I went presidential. And 3 weeks later, I was at green carpet in Florida. It was my first ever Florida green carpet. And I walked across stage as a top 100 earner 1 year to the day of sitting at that boot camp in St. Louis saying, I'm going to be on that stage. And that right there, has taught me that, really anything you visualize, when you don't allow yourself to have any limits, you can achieve it. So I was number 56 in the company. By the time I got to Dash, 2 months later, I was number 7 in the company that month, income. So to say mind blowing, I didn't even understand what was happening. Mark and Mike and Pam were coming up to me and being like, hi, wow, you're making a mark. And I was like, I am? I didn't even know that it wasn't normal. And then I found out I was number 7 for the month of August. And I was like, oh, so that's cool. I was so blown away. So that was what happened. And I went to that Dash. It was amazing. I went ambassador in 21 months in the business. I hit the Millionaire Club in 33 months. My husband had left his job. And now here I am. And I know we're going to talk about a lot of other things that happened on that journey, but I feel like I got real all over the place there. But it's fun because you lose your fire and you gain your fire, and you find your focus and you get distracted. And what's really awesome is right now I feel honestly more on fire, more focused, more clarity than I ever have in my business, even in those first years. And that's exciting because now I know what it can do. And so with that clarity comes I'm going to go find the next me, and I'm going to show them that vision now that I know, and I'm going to teach them to do it better and faster because of all the mistakes I've made in 5 years. All right. I have to look at my notes now to see what we were going to do next. I'm going to bounce it back to one of you. So let's go to Elissa again. We'll just go in order. Elissa, what is something that you have had to overcome while in this business? 7 years, we've all talked about that. We've been through the gamut. Personally, mentally, in your business, what have you had to overcome and how'd you do it?
Okay, well, first of all, think of, for those of you that are in your late 20s or older, think of how much your life changes from your early 20s to the time you're 30. In addition to being a business owner, I don't know if you guys have ever heard this, but we often say that, It Works for network marketing is a personal development program with a compensation plan. You have to go through a lot of growth to reach the levels that we have reached. And so I've had a lot of personal things going on, even just from serious relationships and breakups in the early parts of my business. And, I was a very shy, introverted, insecure, lacked a lot of confidence when I joined this business. You would have not caught me dead speaking on a Zoom like this. And so there's that part of my life that had to change and develop and grow. But actually what's crazy is even though this past year has been a really good year for my business personally, it's been one of the hardest years for me personally with other areas of my life. We got married. My husband and I got married this last July. So we just celebrated our 1-year anniversary. Since then, I've lost a grandma and had 3 miscarriages. And it's been just, I mean, you guys can imagine it's been a really hard year. But thank goodness for those 6 years that I was consistent. I worked my business. I showed up. I showed up like it was a normal job because it was the way I was planning on making money for the rest of my life. So I showed up as if it was my Monday to Friday boss expecting me to be their job, because I knew if I wasn't laying at home in bed, adding people on Facebook and throwing up a post, then if I wasn't doing that, I was going to have to go back to work. And I couldn't imagine going through what we've been through this last year, having a normal job. And so now I've lost my train of thought because that's a really emotional thing to have to say out loud. I mean, I think just, and I know Tammy and Allie have their own things that they've overcome, and I think we all have to do it in our own ways. But for me, this business was almost an outlet through all of those dark periods of my life in the last 7 years. This was the thing that I felt like I had control over. It was the one thing I felt like, you know, I couldn't control. I didn't have answers for all these other things, or I couldn't control the breakup of my emotions. I couldn't control things when I had a normal job. I couldn't control those things, but I could show up to this and I could do my best here, and I could control my paycheck as much as possible. And it was an outlet, and it was a release, and it was a community of people that understood and had the same goals and same vision that I did, because I was just like Allie, my friends didn't get it. I still don't have any of the best friends I had prior to It Works. None of those people are in my business. I'm still friends with them, but they are not a part of my business. When I first told my brother that I was doing this, his response was literally 3 words: Google pyramid scheme. That was it. So I didn't have that family support for my business. But what's crazy is the more you get involved and the more you keep showing up for this business, the more friends that you make and the more community you will have. And I don't just do business with a lot of people in this company anymore. Like, I do life with them. Like, I've only known Allie since April, and I already feel like, you know, like she gets me, she knows what I've been through. And had it not been for this business, we would have never connected. So staying plugged in for that part of it is a huge way that you're going to overcome obstacles in the business and overcome obstacles in your personal life, because life is going to happen. It's going to happen to all of us. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And so one of the best things you can do to kind of like get ready for battle is to have a community with you that's going to do it for you and with you. And the other thing is, like, and I think Tammy will talk about this, so I won't go into it too much, but also allow yourself to have a breather. Early on, someone said, you know, you can take a breather, but don't take a break. You know, some of you guys might be on a break right now. You've got to get out of that funk, because it's really hard to get out of a break. Give yourself grace and allow yourself to take a breather or put your phone down or whatever. But it's really, really hard to keep that discipline once you've let it go. It's just like a gym. It's just like a diet. How many times you say you're going to go back and you're going to go back and you're going to go back, and then, you know, you look up and it's been 2 months and you don't even want to go anymore. So with business, it's really, really important that you continue to show up. And for me, some days that seriously meant I wasn't doing some of the really hard stuff. Nothing in this business is really hard. It might be scary, but it's not hard. But sometimes I couldn't talk to people. I couldn't bring myself to talk to people. I never stopped growing my network on those days. I was adding people on Facebook or following people on Instagram. I was posting things, and I wasn't putting a lot of thought into it, but I wasn't not going to show up to the business that I expected to change my life or to keep changing my life. And so do the easy stuff on the days you can't do the hard stuff, but do the stuff. Always make sure you're doing something. And just know that some parts of your business you're going to be sprinting, and other times you're just going to be walking or jogging, but you've got to keep moving forward. So I know that Tammy has kind of some insight on things that she's overcome, and even just recently. So maybe you can share some scoop with us.
Sure, I can do that. And I'm gonna kind of do 2, like a tangible thing. Come hear me. I could hear someone else too. They're speaking Spanish, and So I'm going to talk about like a tangible thing, because that's one of the things that I get asked a lot about when I got stuck at triple and that not a single person was on my chart after that, how I finally shifted my mindset. And when I did that, it went pretty fast, y'all. I'm not going to lie. Like once I was able to overcome that, it went pretty fast to where now it doesn't faze me like it used to. And I'm able to coach people through that. But to piggyback off Elissa first is, I love what she said, and I was going to say it, and that just shows that we've been in this a long time and we've heard a lot of the same things, is life is going to happen anyway. And so you might as well have something in place that makes it a little bit easier when life happens. There's always going to be illness. There's always going to be sickness. There's always going to be death. There's always going to be birth. There's always going to be these things. It's just the cycle of life. And so if you don't have that thing in place, so like your plan B, whatever you want to call it, in place, when life happens, it's going to be a lot harder. So we're not saying that money makes money causes all or makes all the problems easier, but it makes it easier when that life happens to have this in place. And so two of the things that I usually talk about with having to overcome that, when I was pregnant with my daughter, I had this random pregnancy disease called hyperemesis gravidarum, and I was on home health, in and out of the hospital. I was on a medicinal pump. I was hooked up to IVs at my house. She literally tried to kill me. She tried to kill me, and I will hold that over her head for the rest of her life and remind her. And for those it was like 7.5 months, because I was trying to power through the first trimester thinking I had morning sickness. But for those 7.5 months, y'all, literally in and out of the hospital, I looked like death. I had lost 21 pounds total in my pregnancy and only gained 8 of it back. I was just miserable, and I couldn't do my real job. So I was on intermittent FMLA. They were docking my pay, because that's how this works. I was only getting a percentage of my pay, and I just couldn't work. And I did what I could with It Works. I stayed plugged into my team. I posted in between trips to the bathroom or while I was laying in the hospital bed. And I earned some of my highest checks up until that point while I was not working my business, because of the work and the showing up consistently that I had done prior to that. And so that was when the first time that residual income really just kind of like, I was like, this is what they mean, that you're going to keep getting paid on your efforts from so far before, all of the time ahead of this life event. And it made it so much easier. And so the second time was actually just this past week and a half. My father-in-law passed away kind of unexpectedly. He had been sick, but he had finished his chemo, and then he just had a random brain aneurysm. He had already finished chemo and was about to get to come home, and had a brain aneurysm. There's a baby. It's not mine. I'm out of that stage. And I just decided that I needed to take a moment. When do you know when to take a moment? You have to heed that feeling inside of you, I think, with this business. And I just knew that I wasn't going to be able to be the wife and the mom that my husband needed, that my kids needed, if I was all over the place trying to work my business. I also didn't know how to weave my business in. Like, it just felt icky to be posting about BOGO wraps while my husband is mourning and we're grieving as a family. And so I just was like, you know what? I can't take a week. I was telling Ashley, our upline, my mentor, I can't take a week in this business to be the mom and the wife and to just grieve and do all of those things. Then I'm not doing this business right. That is the joy of this business, but only if you do all of the work before that life kicks in. And so that is the when you have a moment. When do you know to take a moment? And I think it's when you are just really honest with yourself. If you're sitting there looking at your phone and you're like, I just don't even know what to post right now, or it just doesn't feel right, or should I even message this person? That is a good indicator that maybe you just need to take a minute, take a breather, try to figure out why you're feeling that, and then get back to it. Like Elizabeth said, I don't know who Elizabeth is. Elissa said, take a break, I already forgot what you said.
Take a breather, not a break.
There we go. Take a breather, not a break. And I think about it, I cannot even say it. Not Allie, not Allison. Ashley always gives us this scenario that, like, when you're working out in the gym and you're lifting weights and it's too heavy, before you like give up, you take off some weight. So let up before you give up. And so you have to, like, when life is happening and you need that moment, think of that, like, just let up a little bit. Don't completely stop. And yeah, so that's all I'm going to say about that. Now, the practical thing that I did is, in this business, after 7 years, we've seen the ups, the downs, the people come and go. Some people come in for a reason, a season, a lifetime, and that's not up to you to determine what that's going to be. And that's hard, especially if you're a type A controlling person. Like I know me and Allie are. Elissa, maybe not as much, but she's still there too. So we went triple. Everyone was there. They were all going to be with me forever, and it was great. And then all of a sudden they weren't. And I was working, spinning my wheels, and I didn't have a plan. I think that's my biggest thing that I had to overcome, is I didn't have a plan. My plan was always just follow the charts. And so when things were falling apart, I just kept following the chart from before. And I was trying to keep up, but I was the only one keeping up. And it is the most discouraging place to be in when you are just spinning your wheels. And what I learned, it finally one day just clicked. And I said, you know what? I'm going to just pull out a Ruby chart. I was a triple diamond, but I'm going to pull out a Ruby chart, because I had one strong leg, and I knew to get back, I needed to build 2 more legs. And so I was going to start there. And there's something so amazing about looking at a chart with the names of the people that are working with you versus the names of the people that you have to, like, keep filling, or you're sad, or you're hurt, you're disappointed that they've left you, or they're not, it's their season. Maybe they have some life going on. I'm sure, I know Ashley thought of, like, when I was going through the things with Blakely, she was like, I don't know if she was ever going to come back. I was sure you were going to quit, Tammy, just because of how absent I was, but I kept showing up. That is the one thing I always did, pump and all, as I showed up. And that is the biggest thing that I could tell you, is don't let, when you're focusing on what's not happening, you are going to get discouraged and you're going to get frozen. Versus if you start focusing on what is happening, you're going to be encouraged and you're going to want to keep doing more of that. And that also means you're giving the right people the time in your business. You're giving the right people your energies and your efforts that need them at that time. And it's going to just grow quickly. So if you're here and you're like, well, this girl, she left me, that's fine. Reason, season, lifetime, and that's not for you to determine. And that's a them issue, not a you issue. So you have to stop making it about you when someone else decides that they have life going on, or they've already completed their season or their reason, whatever it is. And just focus on what you can control. That was the hardest thing for me to overcome. And are we still talking? Do I have time for one more overcome? Okay, one more overcome. And Allie and I talked about this at the retreat last time, and it's something that I have had conversations with Elissa, is this business is so easy to lose yourself while you're looking at other people and what they're doing. And God did not make us all to be the exact same, with the same strengths and the same weaknesses and the same talents. And if you focus so much, so we're going to talk about this in a minute. Elissa is like amazing at Instagram. Y'all, she has tried to coach me at least 76 times on how to work Instagram. And it just hasn't clicked yet. But if I got lost in trying to make that work, and that is my weakness, okay, I'm going to go ahead and say right now, it is my weakness, I would not be the person that I am meant to be in this business. So the way that I explain it is, don't worry about trying to make your weaknesses stronger. identify them and know that they're there. But your goal, something that you need to focus on, is what are your strengths? Like, call them out, know what they are, highlight them, and make those areas of your life and your business stronger. So I use the example of Michael Phelps. Michael Phelps, amazing swimmer. You don't see him getting on the golf course every day trying to improve his drive or his golf swing. You see him in the pool making his strengths stronger every single day. He might go over here and play golf and have fun and want to get a little bit better, but that's not where his focus is, because God did not give him the gift of being a professional golfer. God gave him the gift to be like this amazing swimmer. And once you can walk in those gifts and make those stronger and just be confident in that, your business is going to be so much better. But it's the identifying that, because you're going to see this person over here like Elissa that is insane at Instagram, and you're like, I need to get better at this. No, you need to learn how to do this, and it's one of those other tools in your toolbox, but that might not be where your strength is. And once you can identify that and overcome that, your business will be so much easier, and you will have so much more fun too, because you're focusing on what you are meant to do and meant to create, versus trying to become a professional golfer when you're supposed to be this, like, the best swimmer of all time. All right, I'm done. That was my one little thing, or three little things, whatever.
They're amazing. They're amazing. I think it's so relatable for everyone. Like, we all have had so many obstacles. And I think so often when we have these obstacles, we just feel isolated. We feel on an island. We feel like no one else feels that way. Like, the second that we face any kind of obstacle, suddenly we create this very bizarre, dialogue in our head that we're the only one dealing with it. And all of a sudden, everybody else's successes are just like magnified, and we like shrink ourselves. And so I think sharing these is so powerful. For me, when I started, like I said, it was nothing but blinding vision of the path. Like, it was like, okay, it works as my vehicle. This chart is my map. I step on the gas. These leaders show me where to drive, teach me, driver's ed, and like, it's just going to happen. And I knew I had heard no noise. Like, it was like I had earplugs in. It was just, that's where I'm going. Cool. Isn't this what everybody does? Like, why wouldn't everybody do this? And I'm 15 months in my business. We had been trying to get pregnant with our second. I've been trying and trying and trying. And you guys know, anybody who's moved really quickly in this business, there's a stress level for sure. And there's some weight you carry, and you, especially early in your business, it's easy to not know how to work your business efficiently, and to feel like everything is an emergency and every ding on your phone needs to be answered immediately. And, at that stage of my life, when my 3-year-old would grab my phone and say, like, Mommy, do a puzzle, put your phone down. Like, that's where I was. And that was not a good place to be. But it almost, when you move so quickly, it feels almost frantic. And that, like, if you slow down for even a breath, that it'll go away. I remember, like, 8 days before I went diamond was our wedding anniversary. So that would have been our 6-year wedding anniversary. And I asked my husband, what do you want to do? Should we go out? What should we do? And he said, I just want to have dinner with you without a phone. And I was like, oh, got it. So conference happened that year, and I said, here's the deal. End of March, I'm going to go triple diamond. You're going to go diamond. We're going to earn $35,000 in bonuses. I am going to take us on an all-inclusive, unbelievable, like, Jamaican vacation. I just need you to deal with this to get that. And he was like, cool, got it, great. And so it was like, on that vacation, we're like, great, yep, we're going to have another baby. We never thought we could have a second till our first was in kindergarten, because we could never have afforded daycare for 2. So it was like, awesome, we're going to decide to have this other baby. And we tried. 15 months in the business, found out we were pregnant. We were so excited, and lost the baby, miscarried. And it wasn't the first time that it happened to us. It was much more traumatic than the first time. And I remember talking to my doctor about a month later and just talking about just being really, really sad, and really overwhelmed with this business, and just really feeling just drug down emotionally. And she was like, oh, you should like talk to this counselor. We can prescribe you something. And I was like, sure, cool. I'll talk to a counselor. And I talked to a counselor like 2 or 3 times. And then she was like moving to Venezuela for her husband's job. And I just like never found a new one. And it was fine. It was whatever. Because, well, I had definitely slowed down. I had gotten a little bitter at my phone. I felt like a little angsty and just anxious. I I still had another rung to climb on the ladder. Because when I started, that income chart was simply a ladder. Boom, 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 boom. You just get up it, you get up to the top as fast as you can. And like I said, it wasn't even like oh, I could never get there. It was like, well, duh, yeah, you just keep going. Well, doesn't everyone do that? Like that was literally my mentality. I knew nothing else, that like people didn't just keep going and go to the top as quickly as possible. So, after that, we actually pretty quickly got pregnant again. And I promoted to ambassador at 20 weeks pregnant. It was very, very exhausting. I was 9 weeks pregnant at conference that year when they announced the double good bonuses in 2015. I was like scarfing granola bars and trying not to puke during conference. And I will never forget, there was like this huge white party and like standing there and taking pictures and like sweating and nauseous, like wanting to die. It was really bad. And I remember after going ambassador, you guys, I didn't sign a single distributor or loyal customer for 3 months. I hated this business. I I was sad. I was angry. I was about to have another baby and I couldn't figure out why I was feeling those things. Um, I asked my doctor about it. They're like, hey, pregnancy hormones, stressful job. I pulled my daughter out of daycare for that summer so I could spend like a whole summer with her before she had a sibling. And you guys, I napped and I watched movies. And I shouldn't say I didn't sign any. I mean, I think maybe I signed like one or two. Like there were days I didn't post at all. I was not recruiting. I didn't send one outgoing message. If messages came to me, absolutely. I wasn't sitting there sending things. And, Elissa said, you take a breath, you don't take a break. And I took a break. I was just over it. I hated my phone. I didn't want to touch my phone. And what happened was that coming off of going ambassador, so many people were running and rocking that my checks were still really big and really, really, really awesome. So I was like positively rewarded for not doing any good things. It was like giving a kid a cookie for like hitting their sibling, like it was literally, it was positively reinforcing negative behaviors. So I was like, oh, I was still pouring into my team. I was training my team. And I knew all these people who had diamond coding to me. And I knew that was a key to making huge money. So I was still pouring into them, running contests for them, whatever. And I just remember being like, you know what? I'm just super pregnant. I'm just not going to spend all this time enrolling people and having a launch. But I'm just going to pour into these people that can make me all money. And they're going to keep enrolling people that can make me all this money. But what I didn't realize was that inactivity 6 to 9 months later was going to make my paycheck not crumble, but just drop drastically because I didn't have a proper grasp on the compensation plan at that time. And I was still so new in the business. I was less than 2 years in the business. I didn't even understand that the work I did in those first few months was why I was top 100 9 months in. I didn't get that. So the work I did to go ambassador was still paying me. But then that lack of work cut my paycheck by 75%. And it was like, and we didn't go like out of our means or anything like that, but I had made insane money and we had bought a second home. Like, you know, we had done renovations. We had our kids, we had gone on vacations. Life was good. Life was great. And then suddenly checks literally just like 75% of my check was gone. And I was like, oh God, bad month. It's going to bounce up. And it didn't. Because I will tell you that, you guys, if you take one day off, it takes about like 3 days to get back into those like really good habits where it feels habitual. Like, oh, yeah, this is what I do. I got this, got this, I got this. So you just like take a moment, totally, but never let yourself like break from those habits or go so long that you can have really good habits and you can have really bad habits. And so right when those checks did drop, we found out we were being surprised with our third child, fondly referred to as the Jackcident. Jack. I found out we were pregnant when my middle was only 8 months old. 4 days before the vasectomy was scheduled. So talk about like, woo, surprise. We were done at 2. Life was good, whatever. And you know, I will never lie and say we were happy the moment we found out. Of course, he is just my greatest blessing, and he is like just this roly-poly meatball and amazing. But I was pregnant again while I was still nursing, and the hormones and the anger and the sadness was still there. And you guys, it took until Jack was 12 weeks old that finally I was diagnosed with postpartum depression. And my OB talked to me and she said that she thinks it triggered when I had that first miscarriage in 2014. And I'd probably never fully come out of it. So I built from number 7 to a lower earning ambassador years later, battling this. And once I finally got my supplements right, I got my nutrition right, I started prioritizing me. You guys, finally, I got my head clear and my business started growing again because I wasn't taking care of me. And that is something that you all have to remember. I just told a distributor the other night, we were on a power hour on a Saturday night. We were all having a glass of wine and working together. And she said, I got to go have ice cream with my boyfriend. And I messaged her and I said, good for you. She's on here. And I said, good for you. I said, you take care of your business and you take care of your relationships. And I had spent seasons of neglecting my kids. I had spent seasons of neglecting my husband. But through all of those seasons, I was neglecting me. And I can tell you guys that coming out of that and having that self-awareness, that it literally took another, probably until really conference this year, that I was like, what the hell have I been doing? And I, you know, my check in January was 1/7 of what my largest check has ever been in this business. And it would have been really, really, really easy to walk away, to just be pissed and to be like, what have I done? But you guys, have never not maintained ambassador. I am so fortunate to have amazing, amazing leaders on my team who, when I wasn't stepping up, they were, you know, but that also means that I had a lot of volume really deep in my chart and I wasn't taking care and enrolling new. And I can tell you that I've raised my check significantly this year. We're going to talk a little bit about mindset shifts here in a second. But I realized that I was the only one in control of what this business was going to do. I couldn't blame it on anyone else. I couldn't say I was only enrolling duds. I was the dud. Everybody who I brought into my business, I just assumed they weren't going to work. I assumed they weren't going to get their customers. I was irritated from the moment I signed them that I was going to have to get their loyals and I was going to have to get their fast start. And what I've decided is that everybody who joins my business is my next ambassador. And the second I started treating my new distributors like they were a total badass running to diamond in 1 month, you guys, they're running. I signed a DT 35 days ago who has signed 13 loyal customers and a distributor in her first month. The last person to do that in my business joined me in 2014 because I wasn't treating them like they were worth it. I wasn't showing him it was possible. I wasn't saying, oh my gosh, you're amazing. Keep going. Keep doing it. Here, let me help you answer this. Let's do a 3-way call. When can we get on Zoom? Let me show you a Ruby chart. I wasn't doing that. And the second I got my head right and realized that I had to prioritize me and my family, and it was either I'm going to do this and I'm going to rise above and I'm going to keep going, then, or I was going back to work, you know, or my husband was going back to work, or we were selling our farm. And that's not an option because I know that in this compensation plan, there's millions. There's the capacity to earn over $1 million a month in this compensation plan. You guys, I'm a lot of red, but I'm a whole lot of green, and I'm a numbers nerd. And I can tell you exactly where every dime on my paycheck comes from, and I know exactly how to make the most money. And there are millions in this comp plan. And so I can say very clearly and very honestly now, I know I had an amazing leader on my team call me out on conference that I wasn't being loud about my goals. And I was denying my next goals, and I wasn't speaking them to my team. And she said, well, how are we ever going to chase our goals if you're not going to chase yours? And she is on the Zoom, and she gets so embarrassed every time I mention it. So I'm not going to call her out, but it was literally the aha of my business. Because why would my teams chase their dreams if I wasn't going to chase mine? So now I am so loud and so bold that I'm going Black Diamond, and I don't care if it takes me 2 years or 10 years. Because I'm going to freaking do it. And I've never been so unshakable and so focused. And the road is going to be up and down and curvy and windy and ugly. And I'm going to hate that road. And I'm going to want to bail out. But there is something right there in the future that I can see so crystal clear that I finally have gotten rid of the noise again. You know, that first year in my business, heard no noise. It's been so noisy for years, and now it's like so clear. And I can say that a huge turning point was that in conference, and I was getting there. And then I went to that weekend where I met Tammy and Elissa, and that changed everything for me. And I've changed my circle. I've let go of people who are very close to me. You know, there's even times that my mom can be a really negative person, and I just don't answer her phone calls. Because I don't have time for that nonsense. You know, you have to make the choice to surround yourself with like the right influence and the right energy. And I want to read you guys this quote really quick before we get into like taking that mindset shift, which I know I kind of went into. And shoot, where is it? I saved it off Pinterest. Okay. It just says, pay attention to whom your energy increases and decreases around, because that's the universe giving you a hint of who you should embrace or stray from. And I can tell you that weekend in April, I have never felt such positive energy and so uplifted and so good about myself. And I knew that moment, like, those were my people. That was my circle. That's who I wanted to be around. And I craved that energy. And now that I've embraced that and spoken to those people regularly, like, all of that has been able to just like everything within me has just like, instead of like filling the vase and it all pouring out, like, it's just, there's so much water coming into the vase that it's just overflowing to everyone. Okay, so I went all over. Elissa, you want to talk about enrolling?
Yeah, I will. Well, just to like kind of piggyback off of what both of you guys have said, I didn't share this part of my story because it's so long, but I was stuck at Triple Diamond for a little over 3 years. I promoted really fast. So I know Tammy said, you know, she was stuck there for a while. I hung out there for a long time, fluctuated between double and Triple Diamond, low checks. And honestly, if you guys could see a graph of my business, of my volume, of my paychecks, 2013, 2014, I could have easily been like, this ship is sinking. I got to get out of here. Like, it's going down. Like all my paycheck is going down. Like It Works isn't working anymore. And I went to a dinner with Pam that fall 2014, and she kind of told us straight up, like, basically get to work. Like, what the heck are you guys doing? There's people that are going to join next year that are going to surpass you. And, you know, you guys have been here for how long? Like, get out of your own head and get out of your own way, basically. And I don't know what happened that night, but it was definitely a mental shift. And, you know, it turns out It Works has always worked and it will always work, but I had stopped working and I had stopped growing. That's why my business was stagnant or even decreasing. And I just decided I was sick at where I was in life. I was so exhausted from my store. And so I was over it. And I was like, I shouldn't be this stressed in my mid-20s. And so I just made the decision, this is my plan A now. Everything else was my plan B. So a lot of your success in this business is going to come from one aha moment or one night or one Zoom or one event. That's why you have to keep showing up and getting to things like these Zooms and conference and all of that. So I was stuck for 3 years. I surrounded myself with other people that were also stuck, but were willing to do something about it. And we started breaking free from that mental bind that we had together. So, all right. So I'm going to talk to you just a really quick tip on recruiting. A lot of my team has already heard this, but again, it's a mental shift that changed my business. Around that same time, 2014, maybe early 2015, I was having a conversation with a presidential at the time who I remember exactly where I was when she gave me this advice. And I was like, I have to bring in more people. If I'm going to reach my goals, I've got to find a way to be a better recruiter. You know, I was consistent-ish. I signed, you know, I think 20 to 25 distributors those first 2 years or so in my business. And, you know, I had a lot of the right people. So I was still able to go triple, you know, being a low enroller. So if you're on here and you don't sign a ton of people, it's okay. You're looking for quality, not always quantity. However, I knew with where I was at and where I was stuck in my business and how many, you know, leaders I needed to raise up and how many spots I needed to fill, that I needed to be able to contribute as much as possible. And so I remember her telling me, you have to treat the business side of this, the opportunity side of it, like a no-brainer, just like you treat the loyal customer program, because everyone is great at signing loyal customers, right? You're confident when you talk about it. It's easy to explain it. Everyone wants to be a loyal. Why would you not be a loyal? It makes no sense if you want to try the products. It's the most affordable way to do it. 1 product a month. Okay, it's easy. It's simple. It's a no-brainer if people want to try the products. But the problem is most people don't teach or treat the business side of it the same way. We overcomplicate it. We make it sound like, you know, you might not want to do this, but like maybe you should think about it. And we make it so like not appealing. And she said, you've got to treat it like it's a no-brainer. So I started treating it like every single person that I came in contact with would want to do it, because why wouldn't they? You can try the products and also give the business a shot and make extra money. Anyone that talked to me about the products, I talked to them just as confidently about the business before they ever ordered. You know, it was just not, I don't know, it was just totally a mental shift of like, why wouldn't people try this? And I would encourage you guys to really think about that tonight. Like, why wouldn't someone do this? There is no risk. They already want the products. If you're talking to them about the products, they clearly already want to spend money on that. If they want to buy wraps, that's even easier. Spend $40 more and give yourself a chance to make $1 million. If it's not for you, there's no risk. You're not locked into anything forever. And, you know, of course we want people to join and we want them to work and we want them to catch the vision and we want them to be with us forever. But honestly, if I would have thought that I had to be here forever, I probably never would have joined, because one of my very first questions was, how do I turn my auto shipment off if this isn't working? I had customer service in my phone contacts for about 3 years as end auto ship. It didn't say It Works customer service. Like, I'm not kidding, guys. For years it said end auto ship, because the eSuite was different then and it was much harder to cancel things. But so just when you're talking to people, that would be my encouragement for you guys tonight, is that if you want to bring some people onto your team, start treating this business like it's a no-brainer. You joined, right? Like, obviously something in you made you decide to join. Why are you holding that back from other people? Why are you making the decision for them before you've even given them a shot? If you said yes to this business, you know people that also want to say yes to this business. But if you're wishy-washy about it, if you make it too overcomplicated, they're not going to jump in with you. You've got to make it easy. You've got to make it fun. You've got to keep it simple, and it has to be a no-brainer. Why wouldn't people just give this a shot? Okay, so Tammy's going to touch on the power of consistency, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, girl.
Read my mind.
Take it away.
So this is something that I talk about a lot. I have never been a massive enroller. I have seasons of it. I'll talk about that here in a second. I have seasons of being a massive enroller, but for the most part, I'm just consistent, like steady Eddie, here we go. This is what we're going to do. But the thing is, I also teach that to my team and the people that I enroll, because I totally, from day one, I understand the discipline of consistency. And if you could develop that discipline, you can become a millionaire in this business. It might take you a little longer than someone that balls out. I'm just going to say it. Balls out, straight out of the gate, like running fast, doing the crazy massive things for 6-9 months, whatever. They might get there faster, but you will still get there as long as you have this discipline of consistency. And at the end of the day, this is what I tell people all of the time. At this point, I wasn't always here. It took me a while to get my mindset here. I don't care at this point if it takes this person 31, 33 months to become a millionaire, or it takes me 7.5 or 8 years to become a millionaire, because at the end of the day, when we are standing on that stage together, we are both millionaires. And that is, it doesn't matter what their timeline. Allie's timeline does not mean anything. It doesn't minimize me becoming a millionaire when I become a millionaire, just because she got there faster. That's fine. So I say that I haven't always thought that way, but I have finally overcome that, and that is my mental game now. And the discipline of consistency, this is something I tell my team all of the time. I don't care what you are doing today. I care for today. I care what you are doing for today and how it is going to impact you on August 21st of 2028. Because if you are doing things right now that you can't keep up and develop a discipline of consistency, you're not going to be doing them for 10 more years until August 2028, and that's when it really matters. If you can't develop that consistency and those things that you are willing to do every single day, day in and day out, it's not pretty, it's not sexy, it's not always fun, but if you can just understand the discipline of consistency, then in 10 years, you're not going to be burnt out. You're still going to be here. You're still going to know exactly what to do when life happens. You're going to know how to come out of that little bitty funk for a day, or when you take your breather instead of a break, because that consistency has been established. You have to think of people that are losing weight. You don't, except for some men, okay, but majority of people don't do these little things every single day, or they're not going to lose like 20 pounds in a month. Some people do, like men when they give up Coke. But for most people, they're going to make these little small changes consistently over time. And in a year, they're going to look up and have lost 80 pounds. But it's because they did those little things over and over and over and over and over and over again. And they understood the power of consistency. They didn't get discouraged when 2 months into it, they hadn't lost the 80 pounds they wanted to lose, and they give up. They knew that if they just kept going and they were consistent with their efforts and consistently said no to the chocolate cake and consistently chose Michelob Ultra over Dos Equis, that they were going to get to that weight loss or not put on the weight that they ultimately wanted to. And I talk about this equation that because I'm a nerd too in a different way. I really don't like numbers unless it has a dollar sign in front of it. Other than that, I'm like, I don't care. So I always say that consistency plus time equals winning in this business. that is the equation. But a lot of times people give it the consistency without enough time. So they're consistent for 3 months, and then they're like, I'm not a diamond, this doesn't work. And then there's people that give it the time, but they're not consistent in their efforts, and then they're also not winning. So it's they're not mutually exclusive things. You've got to be consistent over a long period of time. And when we say a long period of time, 7 years, almost 6 years, like this is where you have to have that long-term vision to understand that consistency over a long period of time. And it doesn't have to be crazy things that leave you up and exhausted and like you have carpal tunnel in your fingers and you just don't know what to do. It's just those consistent actions every single day that you have decided are non-negotiables, just like brushing your teeth. Hopefully you brush your teeth every single day. You are consistently taking care of your teeth, your hygiene. It is something that you do daily. Hopefully, if you don't, then that's a whole other issue that we can even talk about. But it's these things that you do every single day that are just a non-negotiable. If you have kids, you feed your kids every single day. It is a discipline. You just have to make sure that they are going to be taken care of. If you approach the business the same way, you're going to have to feed your business every single day. You're going to have to brush its teeth every single day to make sure it's taken care of. And it's not hard. You can do, like sometimes I've talked to Elissa, I was like, if everyone just consistently messaged one person a day, that's 30 people a month. How many people, hold on, 30, I have a calculator right here. That's 360 people. See, math. Okay, that's 360 people a year. Y'all, see, you don't have to be a genius to make a lot of money either. But anyway, that's 360 people. If you use the law of ratios and averages in your favor, that's awesome. But one person, if you could consistently develop this plan or this thing that you're going to do that every single day, even if that's just what you do every single day. I'm not saying that that's all you need to do. That is like the minimum, your minimum measure of success. One person, it's going to add up over time. And if you, one day you're going to look up, and if you've taught your team that, they might not be the team that skyrockets to the top. But here's what I've learned, and I don't know, Allie kind of touched on this with her story, and Elissa and I have talked about this. After 7 years, we have seen so many people, y'all, so many people come in hot, go straight to the top, and now they're nowhere to be found because they didn't develop that discipline of consistency. They didn't understand what that looked like. So they went in hot, they went up, they went down, they burnt out, they thought the ship was sinking, the sky was falling, because they didn't know how to just walk and be confident in that consistency and trust the process. Because that is, they're not asking us to enroll 50 people a month. They're asking us just to consistently enroll the steps every single month. And there's a reason for that. There's power in that. And so if you can just wrap your mind around that, determine what your daily non-negotiables are and what your measure of success is every single day, and do that consistently, you're gonna be on the million. You're gonna be walking across the stage as a millionaire, whether it's 33 months or 33 years, maybe, I don't know, but at some point you will be a millionaire up there, and it doesn't matter because at that point you're a millionaire with It Works. So that's my consistency spiel. And 360, I get it now. Okay, I will work on it.
I love you. Math is hard. It's okay, Tammy. So I just want to talk about like the need to evolve. So I just want to piggyback a little bit on what she said. We hear these different seasons. There's going to be ups and downs. Like Elissa shared that like the sky was falling. It Works was not working anymore in that seasons of 2013, 2014. You guys, that was my boom. And now I've stabilized and I'm watching these people be like shooting to the top. There's like this new number 2 earner. And I was like, who's that? Wait, what? There's a new ambassador? Like, I don't even know. Like, this is incredible. So your journey is your journey, and timing is going to happen in the perfect timing for you. And whatever has happened in seasons of your business, I could look back. I could look back at those 3 years. That here's the deal, you guys. I saw Jade Hooper. Jade Hooper went ambassador like the same day I did. And I heard she spent 18 hours a day on Instagram. And I was like, I spent like a year like trying to like be her and see how that would work and like figure it out. And it like never felt good. So and that's probably part of the reason I like paralyzed myself and like did nothing and like hated things, life even more in this business and everything. So, I could look back at that right now and I could regret it. And I could think, oh my gosh, those last 3 years, gosh, what if I had worked more? What if I had messaged more? What if I had gotten off my butt? What if I had this? What if I had that? You guys, in this moment in time, I can't change what happened then. What I know, truer than true, is that, and I have to trust, and this is in life in general, I did my best. I did my best I could in that moment. If I could have done better, I would have done better. So I have to trust that. Regret and guilt and what ifs are nothing but completely wasted energy. You have a tank of energy every day, and you only have so much you can give. And for every negative minute you spend, you need 4 to 5 positive minutes to counteract that. So if you're sitting there festering in these woulda, coulda, shoulda, I wish I would have done whatever, you did your best. You did your best in that moment. If you could have done better, you would have done better. And that is a universal truth. We always do our best, right? We do our best for ourselves and we do our best for our family. So in that moment, who I was, that's what I could give. And maybe my family got the best of me that summer. Maybe my friends got me the best of me that summer. Maybe that baby in my belly got the best of me that summer. I mean, he's quite the spitfire, so he got a lot of me for sure. So all I know now is that I have control over what I do today. That's it. I have control. The literal only thing I have control of in our entire universe is what I do in this next moment. Because I don't know what's going to happen a minute from now. I don't know what's going to happen an hour from now. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I have control over what I do in this moment. And I know that as soon as I get off this Zoom, I can continue forwarding that voice message to my entire list of PDTs. 400 people or whatever. And I know that I have a fast start I've got to hit by tomorrow, and I need 5 more BD. So I can follow up. And these are the things I can control. But what I have also learned is that if what you're doing is not working, you cannot be stuck in your ways. The things that we could do in 2013, you guys, I blasted like ridiculous like belly pictures and bikinis like all over my Facebook wall, and I would be like flooded with customers. It doesn't work anymore. First, social media doesn't like it anymore. Instagram was barely a thing 5 years ago. And I'm not like, people don't want to see that nonsense now. So people, marketing has turned from an in your face thing to an attraction thing in relationships. And I think I fought it for a long time. Like I was saying, I fought Instagram. Well, and it just didn't feel good. It like felt yucky and I didn't like it. But what happened was stories. And I realized like, oh, I like stories. I like posting in my stories, like, because I like to post a lot. My kids are silly, and I like to post ridiculous things like this giant stack of gifts on my desk right now that need to be mailed out. But like, I hate mailing packages. So like, they're just sitting here. Like, these are the silly things in life that people like to watch. So once stories happened, I kind of embraced it a little more, and I kind of like found my groove. I am a steps to success enroller, you guys. I went ambassador as a steps to success. I continue to be a steps to success. The most customer or distributors I've ever signed in a month is 13. And it was the month I went ambassador. I can tell you that 2 months later, not a single one of them was still in the working. And the The most loyals I've ever signed in a month was last month. And it's once I've embraced host to post. I was like, ew, I don't like that. It feels robotic. It doesn't feel like I have a relationship with people. And it's like, well, that's because I was doing it the way someone else said I had to do it. The second I made it my own and I changed some wording and I started, I can say, oh, who wants to try a cleanse? And it does this. You want the discount, right? Okay, great. Boom. Yeah, I felt like a robot. The second I started in host to post for weight loss, started having conversations with people. What's your diet and exercise? What do you struggle with? Do you drink coffee? Do you like chocolate? I'm building relationships with people, you guys, and I'm getting big orders. Like my standard go-to loyal customer order right now is 2 bags of keto coffee, a chocolate greens, and a fat fighters. That's a big order, right? So the second I made it my own, it was fine. If you are fighting things, it's just going to like fight back against you. And PM Souter taught me this. When the scary comes into the business, when something you don't like, when the anxiety comes on you, the grief comes on you, whatever it is, the negativity, it's like a dark cloud. And if you're like, oh God, don't rain, don't rain, don't rain, don't rain, it's going to pour on you, right? But if you're like, oh, hey, hi, dark cloud, I see you, I acknowledge you, I'm going to just ask you to just move on by. And the second you like acknowledge whatever it is and just let it pass, that's fine. You either have to embrace it and make it your own, get out your umbrella, or let it pass on by. Not everything's going to be for everyone. Using Snapchat for my business, not my jam, not my thing. Ashley Renaud, Genevieve Sykes, totally use Snapchat all the time. Great. Pinterest for my business? No, no thanks. Cool. I'll just like look at cool new tattoos and quotes on there. That's fine. That's all I need. So, but like Instagram, now it's like, okay, cool. I can use this Captivate. I don't have to do it every day. Captivate's going to help me build a following. I can be really consistent. 4 times a week, I can like really interact on other people's stories. I can have my 7-year-old scroll down my feed and like every picture. Cool. I can do this. So I found a way that I enjoy working Instagram instead of like, well, to be successful on Instagram, you have to work 18 hours a day. That's what I thought. But that's how Jade Hooper was successful on Instagram. That's not me. I am my own person. I run my own business. And the second, like, I think Tammy was saying earlier about walking in your gifts and finding what feels good and what's exciting. Like right now, you guys, I'm excited to follow up with my host to post people because I'm like, okay, cool. Like it's been about 4 or 5 days. You were waiting to get paid. Like, let's go ahead and talk again, So once you embrace that and evolve with the times, you are going to like embrace the evolution. Companies don't stay the same. Companies can't stay the same. And I will say all the ambassadors had a Zoom with Mark Pentecost today. It was amazing. You guys, I can't say with a clearer mind that my God, that is an amazing man. He has such a heart and such a love for his team, but he is a competitive dude. And he wants to be the best. And the things that are evolving and how we're keeping up is just incredible. You guys got to remember in 2015, the number of ambassadors doubled. And he got sick. Like there were some growing pains. We're coming out of that growing pain with an unbelievable infrastructure to then take us to the next level. Because it's not hard to be on fire, right? It's not hard to be feeling pumped and jacked and rolling in money. It's hard to build the fire. So you guys, these years where you feel like you're in the trenches and you feel like you're working so hard and like you're seeing a little bit increase, you're not seeing the fruits of your labor. The second that infrastructure is built and you feel the fire, it is going to be like rain and payday, and it's not going to feel like work anymore because you dug the trench, you built the fire. And so that's where I think we are. The fire is almost built. And with keto and collagen and a few, the new website's going to be coming out. Collagen's going to be announced soon. There's just a lot coming. So I'm super, super excited because I really feel like 2019 and 2020 are going to be another just like insane year. So I'm super excited. Embrace the evolution. Um, and don't hesitate to go back to what feels good. And the last little tip, I want to share this because somebody just mentioned it to me, another ambassador. She went and did a bridal show, and she said that MLM is so stuck in social media right now, nobody's doing shows anymore. She was the only multi-level marketing company at a massive bridal show. Don't be afraid. If you like that stuff, don't be afraid to stay there, because other people may move to what feels good to them. But if that still feels good to you, like, keep doing it. And maybe it will become like a huge niche that you didn't even know, that was needed. So Elissa, Tammy, do you guys have some closing thoughts? I'll just unmute all of us. Maybe. There we go.
Tammy, do you have any closing thoughts?
I'm afraid to open my mouth and make a fool out of myself again. Not really.
Just don't do any math.
I just won't. It's what I do. It's fine. I walk in my weirdness and it's fine. My only thing is what you just said is 2019, 2020. And that is the kind of mentality you have to be successful in this business. Allie said she would fall asleep like dreaming of that pay chart. And I remember having it posted everywhere. And I looked at it every single day. And I just knew this is where I'm going. I'm going there. And I still look at it, even though I don't know if I'm looking at the right one anymore because it's always changing. But I'll just look at the one I want to look at, the number I want to look at. But you have to know that it's not going to happen overnight. And I think that's where a lot of people get so discouraged, because you can be putting in so much effort and it's just not, you're not seeing what you think you should be seeing right at that time, but you will see it. And I know it's easy for us to say that because we're here where we are, but we've also been in 7 years, and we're not just saying that because we have to tell ourselves that too every single day, that in 2019 and 2020 and 2028, I want to know what I'm doing today is going to make a huge impact on my life and my family, on my teams, community, whatever it is in 2028. And so the little hiccups that happen in 2018, they don't bother me as much anymore. They're just like inconveniences that it's like, this is annoying, but it doesn't like get me off track because I know this is where I'm going. And if you haven't established that, I mean, maybe just give yourself like the next month or the next month, but at least start growing that long-term vision. That's it. That's my end note. And there's 360 days in a year. That's
365, but it's okay.
365, but if you do 30 a month, see, math. That's fine. 365.
I love it. Well, we did a social media Zoom last night, and I was telling everyone just kind of that same thing about vision and looking further ahead and things not paying off right away, but that it does come. And or maybe it wasn't last night. It wasn't, anyways, besides the point. But we were talking about recruiting too. And I was talking about that long-term vision is also what will help you seal the deal with some of these people. Because when you don't have the long-term vision, you're a little bit more desperate. You need the person right now to join. And when someone tells me like, I have these 12 excuses of why I can't join, I don't try to come up with this perfect thing that's going to make them change their mind. I'm like, okay, here's why I still know that you could do it, but that's okay. Like, can I check in with you in a few months? And I don't have that desperation because I still know I'm going to be here in 3 months, 3 years, 3 decades from now. And when that girl's ready to join, they're going to join with me. So having that long-term vision is going to help you in a lot of different ways in this business. But that was just because you said that I had to say that. But my last tip was going to be that my sponsor is Ashley Sinclair. For those of you that don't know, she went ambassador in 7 months. She had a great network, great personality. She's totally outgoing, great stage presence, funny. She's got, those of you that know her, she's got like a million talents and everything else. And for a really long time of my business, that held me back not because of anything she did, but because I couldn't see myself in that place because I wasn't her. And I knew I wasn't going to ever be her. And I honestly didn't want to be her. I didn't want to have that. I didn't want to be on stage. I didn't want to do panels and all of that. And so I just thought, I'm stuck because I'm not her. I'm not going to get to that place because that's not who I am. And it took me a really long time to figure out that I didn't have to be her to get to the same place. And so if that's you, if you've joined with someone and you don't have the same personality, or, you know, you're under a leader that's very successful and you can't envision yourself being that person, number one, most of us couldn't envision ourselves having this kind of success. But number two, you don't have to be that person to have that kind of success. You know, it took me just watching other people build a business on social media to realize, oh, like, I don't have to be Ashley. I'm actually good at social media. I can do that. And you guys might think the opposite. I don't want to do social media, but I could do parties or expos like that. And so don't let what someone else is, like Allie was already saying with Jade, like, don't let what someone else is or how someone else got there or how they did all these things. Don't let that keep you from being back and finding your place in your journey. Because if we all had the exact same story, that would be no fun. That would be not, nobody would be inspired by that. And honestly, if I, you know, thought, man, I didn't go ambassador in 7 months, so I'm never going to get there. Y'all, I'm presidential and I've been in almost 7 years. My sponsor went ambassador in 7 months. Like, it's worth it. And the reason that we're on here telling you guys, like, be consistent, do the daily things, have the discipline, you know, it pays off, it works, plant the seeds. The reason that we say that and we say get to events and get on Zooms and post and message, it's because it works. And we've been in here for years, and we wouldn't still be doing those things if it didn't work. We wouldn't still be posting. We still wouldn't go to conference. I've been to so many 1 Team 1 missions and boot camps and events and green carpets, and I keep going because it keeps working. So anything that you're seeing these other successful people do, don't compare yourself to it, but definitely take notes too. And, you know, if they keep showing up, that's a part of the key to success is just showing up. So, all right. I think we're it, unless Allie had anything else.
No, I mean, we're like over an hour and a half. I'm so sorry, you guys. Like, I think the three of us all are just so excited to be doing this together, and we all can talk a lot. And, but that's good. I think, I mean, I've already been getting a lot of messages that you guys spoke a lot of life into our team. And so I'm super, super excited and super thankful. And we did record this. So as soon as I get the recording, I will share it with you guys and we can share it on our team pages. So thank you guys. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for being on. And Elissa and Tammy, thank you guys for inviting me to do this. I think this was awesome.
Awesome.
Love y'all.
All right. Love you guys. Good night.
Bye.
Bye.